So, very good evening, guys. Today we start the lecture of history, and it's also important those the student who are preparing for any government exam, who are preparing for any college exam, and they are really interested to the subject of history because history is totally connecting to each other. If you really read the history, then it will help you to improve your life, improve your future, and also help you to take a good decision and good message. So let us start. First, we cover like which manner we cover. First is our topic name is source. Then we coming from prehistory and proto-history, and proto-history under we cover IVC Indus Valley Civilization. Then we cover to the different parts in the same manner. So let us start. First, our topic name is sources. So what is source? Source is the thing where we know what where is coming from history. Source, like if anything, if we find anything and we have no idea where is coming from. So this is known as source. So we have two type of source. First is the archaeological source. First is an archaeological source. Second is a literary source. In literary source, we are discussing about the indigenous and foreign account. In archaeological source, hope you remember, those archaeologists is those person who find the history. So archaeological source is also known as archaeologist. Archaeologists find those sources known as archaeological source. So archaeological source is coming from inscription, coins, monument, and material remains. We are discussing in next topic. So let's start literary source. Indigenous in a literary source is also divided in two parts: indigenous and foreign account. Indigenous it's also divided in two parts: the religious and secular. And under religious, it's covered Brahminical texts, Buddha's texts, and Jaina texts. And secular, I hope you remember what is the meaning of secular. Secular is the meaning where religion and state is not coming together. So secular is totally disconnected to the any type of religion. So it's mentioning about Sangam literature, drama, and Arthasastra. So in a foreign account is also mentioning about Greek, Chinese, and other. These traveler are coming from this traveler was coming from India to the different region, and they written lots of new things. They written lots of document about the past of the history. So let we also discuss in that the Greek, Chinese, Arab document, and we also like go deep in that particular topic because this part is more important. Not only for the education purpose, not only for the exam purpose, it's also help you to know where and how our history is started. So let's start. Literary source is also known as these literary sources mentioning on those written source. So manuscript is coming from the literary source and manuscript like Sanskrita. Manuscript in Sanskrit they are to tell us Tal Patra, and Tamil they are told as Olai. Tamil they are told as Olai. Manuscript they were written by hand and they were written about 2,000 years ago. They were written on palm leaf or on the special prepared barks of a tree known as bridge tree. Nepal, Kashmir, South India, it's found. Like 2003, Government of India launched National Mission of Manuscript to preserve it, and manuscript is also considered as a primary source. Manuscripts are also considered as a primary source. Important issue that have to be kept in mind while using ancient Indian text as window to be passed. According to Pendra Singh told us like if we using the ancient Indian source, so something we remember, something we take our mind and to go in deep dive to the ancient Indian history. First, they are much older than their surviving manuscript. Like any manuscript is there. It's not they are coming from in that period. It's also coming from their oldest period. So when we read any type of ancient manuscript, then we focus about this document. This manuscript is older, more older than we are taking. Second, we are talking about to the. It is not easy to identify different chronological in this text. It is a more difficult task to find the chronology where this chronology is good, where this chronology is not good. There is a possibility of addition or interpretation. Lot of time is more possibility, and some addition and some interpretation is also going on. They represent ideal situation, not actual situation. When you ancient history also define ideal situation and not actual situation. It sometimes is different, but yeah, general religious themes and they are myth. And most important thing is that they are generally religious themes. Religious themes means of that ki they like how our religions were doing, how our religions are working. They are focusing in that portion. And you know, most of the religious things, according to the philosopher, according to the archaeologists, they are thinking about their myths. In this context of all the Pendra Singh said, an ancient text does not necessarily offer a simple or direct reflection of the society of its time. According to Pindra, ancient texts present reflected image of the past, therefore information has to be tested out with care, with skill, with honesty. In this context of all this Pendra Singh said, in ancient text does not necessarily offer a simple or direct reflection of a society of its time. According to Pendra Singh, also ancient tech present reflected image of the past. Therefore, information has to be teased out with care, with skill, with honesty. In a literary source is also coming from religious text, is a Brahminical text, Buddha's text, and Jaina text. Brahmin literatures is divided into two parts, is a Shruti and Smriti. Shruti is known as they are heard, means of that people are passed through one generation to another generation to the heard purpose. And they are oral tradition. They are orally tradition, not written tradition. And we are also told as is the time of the Vedic literature. And Simriti is also different. Simriti is a remembering thing. Remembering means we are remembered. And is a written tradition. It's a written, like any point priests are told to the student, they student are written that thing, and they are passed out to generation to the written sources, written document. And it's period of later Vedic literature. Smriti and Shruti literature. In under, it's also divided four parts, and it's for not four parts. It's a is reduce our difficulties. Like Samritis are more difficult, Brahmanas is less difficult, Anakas is more less difficult, and Upanishad is very easily. So Samriti is totally focused about the Vedas. We have four Vedas: Rig Ved, Syam Ved, Yajur Ved, and Atharva Ved. And Brahmanas reduce the difficulties of these Samritis. They mention how Rigved, like some difficult words is there, some unreasoning words is there, some unlogical words is there, and these words are known only for the Brahmanas. So only for the Brahmanas. That's the reason Brahmanas focus about to reduce the difficulty, and to those people who are not able to read to the Samritis. So if they read to the Brahmanas, those they are able to read and know what is going on in the Rig Ved, Samved, Yajurved, and Atharvaved. Harindas is going in the same direction, and Upanishad is going in also same direction. So Vedas, we are talking about the Vedas. Vedas word derived from the root word Ved. Ved means to know, and it's Vedas word is coming from the Greek word. So we are talking about the Vedas word derived from the root word with to know. Vedas are the oldest surviving text in the Indian subcontinent. Vedas are the oldest surviving text in the Indian subcontinent. They have the statues of Shrutis. They are the part of the Shrutis. They are called Aporosya. Aporosya. Not made by man. Aporosya not made by man. They are called Nitya, not know how many time old. They are called Nitya, not know how many time old. They are four Vedas. There are four Vedas. First Veda is Rig Veda, Shyam Veda, Yajur Veda, and Atharva Veda. Rig Veda is most important for us as a source. It consists of 117 hymns and 11 Wala Kilhas, and these are added to each other. Is become 128 shlokas, and it's divided into 10 mandalas. It's divided into ten mandalas. It divided into 10 mandalas is the divided into 10 mandalas like first, second, and first to 10. So 2 to 7th family book is mentioning is the original book, and it's a lateral book, early book. And then one book and 8 to 8, 9, 10 is the additional book. Is add to the later Vedic period. So 10 mandalas is focusing more to the Purushotras is a Varna system. Later added to the mandalas. Later added to the mandalas. Rig Veda consists of 128 hymns, sutras, and Rig Veda is also arranged into 10 mandalas, like it's a parts, 10 mandalas, and mandalas is divided in anvikas. Anvikas is divided suktas, 128 suktas, and uh, suktas is also divided 1000 mantras. Mandalas, Mandal 2 to 7 called as a family book, they are considered as the oldest. In the third book, Gayatri Mantra is mentioned. In the seventh book, Dasraj battle is mentioned. In the tenth book, Purshu Shukta is mentioned. And Priest is the Potri. Priest is the Potri. Rig Veda Priest is the Potri. Shyamved. Shyamved is a collection of melodies. Collection of melodies means music. Shyamved is totally focused about to the what type of music is going on, how to happy to the god, how to impress to the god, to the manner of music, to the manner of enjoyment, to the manner of those culture. So Shyamved is mentioning this portion, and its list was Udagetri. Udagetri. Yajurved is totally focused about rituals, how to do practice rituals, and his priest was Adi Varyo. Atharvaved is a Brahma Veda, collection of magic, charms, and spells. Collection of magic, charms, and spells, not working of Aryan. It is not working of Aryan. The priest was Brahmanic priest. According to some historians, these Vedas had different sakas. In these Vedas had different sakas. First is the Sakas means of that parts, branches. So only one Saka. Rigved have only one Saka is named as Shakulya Saka. Shakulya Sakas, and Shyamved is a Gautam Shakas. Yajurved have Sikalya ya Krishna Yajurved, and Atharved is a Sonak and Pipala Veda. Rig Veda is mentioning about hymns. Samveda is mentioning about the uh, music, melodies. Yajurveda is mentioning about the rituals, and Atharveda is mentioning about the uh, hymns and magics. They are coming from Brahmanas. They are a cross explanation of the Samiti portion and have details and explanation of the sacrifice rituals and their outcomes. Early Veda has several Brahmanas attached to it. Early Vedas has several Brahmanas attached to it. Early Veda has several Brahmanas attached to it. Early Vedas, in early Vedas, most of the Brahmanas attached to it because they are defined word to word defined, like dictionary in present time. So dictionary are defined as in one particular word to the very clear manner. So that's the reason one Veda have lots of Brahmanas. One Veda have lots of Brahmanas because they define the Vedas with very clear and very soft manner. Rig Veda have, I think, two Brahmanas is a Atarya Brahmanas and Kauspika Brahmanas. Shyam Veda is a Geminiya Brahmanas and Tandu Mahi Brahmanas, also known as Panchmasya Brahmanas. Panchmasya Brahmanas. Yajurved is the Satyapatha Brahmanas and Tatriya Brahmanas. And Goptha Brahmanas is attached to the Atharvaved. Goptha Brahmanas is attached to the Atharvaved. Iron caste. Not very important for history, but yes, it is a forest book. If anyone want to read the forest book, so yeah, they focus totally about to the Aryankas, and it deal with the Rahashyavad. What was happened is a in a reality. What is going on? What we change the situation. So it's totally mentioning about to the Aryankas. Upanishads, Shamitis, and Brahmanas linked to the Aryakas, and Upanishada is the last is the question answer. The meaning to sit down near someone is the Upanishada is totally focused about to sit down to any one person, any god, any one, and they explain and they define you, they explain you and define you to something, to sit and somebody, to sit somebody. The meaning, these are philosophical texts, and we talk about the different doctrine, different stories, and parameters. Parameters. It tried to simplify Vedic knowledge through question and answer stories. It's simplify how the Vedas knowledge going on. So it's totally focused about to the question answer. You know, if we are questioning answer anything, so when we are questioning answer, so it's reduce our like doubt, it's reduce our problem to the manner of question answer. 108 Upanishads, but 12 are important. They are associated with Vedas. 180 Upanishads, but 12 are important associated with Vedas. Atharva and Kaustika Upanishad belong to the Rig Veda, and Chandalya and Kenya Upanishad belong to the Shyamved, and Tattariya, Kakya, and Shivasta Vashra Upanishad, Krishna Yajurved, and Brahma Droka, Shokalya Yajurved, and Prashna and Munduka and Mandikai Atharved. So one PYQ is there. How far can the ancient Indian test? How far can the ancient Indian Saudi literature be used as a historical source? This questioning are asking how far can the ancient Indian Sutra literature be used as a historical source? So we have yes, like if we really want to go in a Sutra literature, so we divided this question in three parts. First intro, then second body, and third conclusion. So introduction we are covering what is a Sutra literature and what is the focusing about, why they are important, and when we coming from the how far, these are questioning how, so we are totally focused about to their significance. Like first we are talking about to the significance, like they have provided the good knowledge about ancient history, and they have the written sources, lots of written sources like Vedas. Yes, this is the oral tradition, but some of the Vedic literature and some of the documentaries also mentioning here, and we also some mentioning about they reduce our problem, and it's also define how to practice is going on, how to mantras help the people, how the music will help the people, and also mentioning about how the melodies and how there's a forest Rahasavad Aranyakash and Upanishad will help the people to know the real history. So we cover this portion in ancient history. In this portion, we cover that. So when we coming in the next portion is the mentioning of Samriti. Samriti means literally remember. Remember. That include Vedanga, Dharma Shastra, epics and Puranas. Vedanga, Dharma Shastra, epics and Puranas. Samriti, you know what is a remember? We are written this thing to pass out from one generation to other generation. And when we talking about to the Vedanga, Vedanga literally limb of the Veda. It is the literally limb of the Vedas. It aimed at belong to the proper recitation, use of understanding of the Vedas. It aimed to at belong to the proper. It aimed at helping the proper. It aimed at helping the proper recitations and use of understanding of the Vedas. This work of Rohit Phonitas, Shikshas, Mitras, Chandas, Grammar, Vyakaran, Astrology, Yukta, and Ritual, Kalapa, Astronomy, Jyotish. They are mentioning these questions. Yeah, these are working in this philosophy like mantras and jyotishas and rituals and astrologies and grammars. Second, we are focused about Dharma Shastra. Dharma Shastra is divided into Dharma Sutra, Shruti, law book plus commentary, and these three mix are together. They are known as Dharma Shastra. Dharma Shastra as a source, Dharma Shastra Sutra. First is the period. Dharma Sutra is coming from 600 to 300 BCE. Then second Shamriti is 200 BC to 400 CE, and commentary on that 9 to 90 century. Vivikana. Vivikana, he wrote History of Dharma Shastra, and they have 7 volumes. Volume means of that parts. Dharma Shastra, we have talking about the Gautami Dharma Sutra and Apa Tamasya Dharma Sutra. Samriti is a Manu Smriti, most popular, and Yajur Na Valika Narad and Brihaspati. These are focusing about to the and tikas. Tikas means of commentary. Tikas means of commentary. So Vishwa Pupa, Midhatas and Pulu Pulukubita. Manusmriti, Manu Dharma Shruti. It prescribes the conduct of for men and women for the four varnas. It's totally and rules of interaction between them. And in the addition, it lay out rules of conduct for people in the four stage of life: ashrams, brahmacharya, grihasth, banprasth, and sannyas. And 264 stages divided into 12 chapters of Manu Smriti also talk about range of issues like caste restriction, dietary restriction, restriction of women, rituals of marriage, death and sacrificial ceremonies, purification rituals, penalties of breaking these rituals, and rules of polity to be followed by the king. This totally mentioning about how to be like how the human beings are following this portion, how the human beings are going in that particular direction. Contribution as a source of Dharma Shastra. Dharma Shastra is talk about to the rule of conduct. It talk about to the name of social behavior. It talk about to the ideal scheme. It talk about to the Varna system elaboratory. It talk about ashram system and Purushottam, four goal of life. Uh, Sanskara, 60 Sanskara, marriage rule also given. We talk about tension between theory and practice. These were different interactions. This Samriti talk about Varnas and also talk about Jatis and also talk about inter-Varna marriage. One we are remembering this thing. First is talk about rule of conduct, second social behavior, third ideal scheme, fourth Varna system elaborate, fifth ashram system, sixth four goal of life. Four goal of life means of that ashram, brahmacharya, brahmacharya, uh, rest, banprasth, sannyas, and 60 sanskaras, marriage also given to in practice. Varna Samka and also talk about emergency dharma and talk about that dharma and talk about the Prita Sutra, uh, Sat- Satriya. Upendra Singh Dharma Shastra talk about inbuilt elasticity in the Brahminical tradition. Upendra Singh Dharma Shastra talk about inbuilt elasticity in the Brahminical tradition. Inbuilt elasticity in the Brahminical tradition. They are built inbuilt elasticity. They are inbuilt elasticity in the Brahminical tradition. What is the limitation is there? First is the data. Some point of time when people are read this document, they are confusing their data, more confusing than author. Who write this? Who know what is happening? Third is the vocabulary. Lots of difficult vocabulary and it's more difficult to find the words. Ideal rules. These rules are not like some rules are more difficult and people are not able to follow this rule to their own manner. Discriminatory is focusing in that particular monosamity and variation, different interpretation, represent Brahminical mindset and view of certain section of the Brahmanas. View of certain section of the Brahmanas. Ramayana, Mahabharata as a source is also known as Itihas. When we read about the Brahmanas and Mahabharatas, it's totally focused about the society, polity, economy, and history. It's also focused about the society, polity, economy, and history. When we come in the Ramayana, when we come in the Ramayana, so Ramayana period is coming from 500 BC, 500 BC to 300 BC, and Mahabharata is coming from 400 BCE to 400 CE. This is a some timeline problem, but yeah, most of the people, most of the students are focusing about knowledge, and yeah, timeline is a definition. Ramayana have some basic information was attributed by Valmiki. It is generally believed that developed in Treta Yuga. It has seven kunda. Initially, Ramayana has 6,000 verses. Gradually, it evolved. Mahabharata is attributed to the Vedas. and it was initially Jai Samiti. It had 8,800 verses. Later it became Sat Shri Samitis and 80 Puranas developed in Dwapar Yuga. Developed in Dwapar Yuga. What took many centuries to come into what took many centuries to come into shape. They are taking lot of time to coming into shape. Ramayana, some basic information was attributed by Valmiki. It is generally believed that developed in the Treta Yuga. We have four yuga like Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga, and something one Kali Yuga also here. So it's a seven Kunda. Initially, Ramayana has 6,000 verses. Gradually, it evolved. Mahabharata is attributed to Vedvyas. It was initially Jai Samhita. It had 8,800 verses. Later it became Sat Shrishti Samiti and 80 Puranas developed in Dwapar Yuga. Developed in Dwapar Yuga. What took many centuries to come into shape? What took many centuries to come into shape? The two epics were clearly aware of each other. What took many centuries to come into shape? The two epics were concern a conflict between two set of cousins. The core story of Mahabharata concern a conflict between two set of cousins, Purana, Kauravas and Pandavas. The core of Ramayana is about Rama, prince of Koshala, his basement to be a forest, the addiction of his wife Sita by Ravana, the king of Lanka. Sita rescued and Rama returned to the capital Ayodhya to become king. Conclusion is that according to Pindra Singh, using then historical source is difficult. Using Vim historical source is a difficult. Why difficult? Different version. For Ramayana, we have Jaina, Panonia, Buddhist, Dasarath, Jataka, and Tamil Komban. Not any easily task to identify internal chronological layers. Studies. Lots of studies is also going on in present time on Ramayanas. J.L. Brockington and Pullock on Mahabharata, Pitt, Gurdley, 2005. Excavation, excavation Ramayana, excavation on Ramayana, Ayodhya, and Mahabharata Purana Kingdom. Puranas is the oldest story. It is said that Lomharsha and Purana's oldest story. It is said that Lomharsha and his son Vagra Shrava, they compiled Puranas, Shuta, Bharda, Magda, telling their stories. And therefore Purana represent blood tradition of India. Bald tradition of India, Purana were compiled in Gupta period. There were 18 Puranas. Most popular Purana, Bhagavad Puranas. For history, most important Vishnu, Dharma, Dharmottara Purans. Purpose of Puran to propagate religion and spiritual messages through stories. It was most important for ordinary people to educated common man. Purana deal with five core subjects: Sarg, creation of world; Prahat Sarg, recreation; Manvatara, time; Vanshya, geology, family history; and Vanshya Chakra, geology. Vanshya Chakra, geology, family history. Why Purana called innovative? Because they are focusing on those sections who are not able to know, and they educated to the common people also. That is reason they are innovative. Significance of Puranas because they help to educate the people and they also flourish to the religion and the creature. They also help to evolve new define the reality of the peoples and they are focusing about to five rules. These are mentioning about how the creation of world and the most important thing is that too for like Purana have a lot Puranas words is very easily. Limitation of Purana is also because interpretation is also here, some difficulties, data interpretation, vocabularies, and we are totally like these are like some sources good, but some sources not identify how to use in that particular sense. So yeah, we are covering in that particular session in here, and we are covered next part in the next video. Thank you, and connect to the next time. Very good day. Have a good day. Thank you. Bye bye.